After following the Kettle Valley Railway through the Okanagan, I decide to head east towards the Rocky Mountains. I start in Ashcroft, where I spent a few years working on the ambulance. The surrounding area following the Thompson River towards Kamloops is some of the most arid in BC and all of Canada. About 20 centimeters of rain will fall here each year, which isn't a whole lot. Just a few hours along the journey, I find myself at an important historic site that helped to define Canada. On November 7, 1885, the last spike was driven along the Canadian Pacific Railway, marking the completion of Canada's first transcontinental railroad. This moment is celebrated right off the Trans-Canada Highway and, practically speaking, it's a good adjunct to a stop at the restroom. It's hard for me to grasp that within just a few hours I can be at the start of the Rocky Mountains. Honestly, why haven't I visited here before? It seems so far off and distant in my mind, but really, it's not. I'm driving underneath that one giant mountain right now. It's spectacular. Oh, man, is it big. Five national parks and numerous provincial parks are found within the Canadian Rocky Mountains, which overlap BC and Alberta. In 1984, parts of the range were deemed a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Deep in the woods, crazy amounts of trees. Apparently there's lots of wildlife too, but I've yet to see any. Hopefully I will though, and if I do, man. Welcome to Kicking Horse Country, a great location to launch a tour of this pristine landscape. River rafting, skiing and snowboarding, snowmobiling, golfing, wildlife touring, helicopter touring, hiking, camping, resorting. It doesn't really matter what you fancy, you can do it from Golden. I'm starting to think that I'm getting surrounded. I was frantically trying to warn the trucker that there was the goat coming down the mountain, and I don't know if I got that on film because I was waving my arms. That was a close call. I hit up a campsite in Yoho National Park and head out to explore, winding my way up to Canada's second highest waterfall. At 380 meters or 1,246 feet, water jettisons off of the cliffs, free falling 254 meters below. I have a feeling that far too few British Columbians have even been to the Rocky Mountains, let alone experienced them the way that they're supposed to be. It's moments like this, when I'm standing in front of the Kicking Horse River, that I just really get a sense of how amazing it really is just to take a bit of time out, to stop in a spot and really experience it as opposed to just driving past it. Alright, we gotta be quiet, but there's a male moose about 50 feet away from me over there, and he's got gigantic antlers right now, so I'm gonna get a couple of shots of him. He's huge! To give you some perspective, this dude's shoulders were a little taller than I am at 6'1". I think I'm surrounded by moose. Meese. It's a little terrifying because I've heard what they can do to people. I see some elk in the distance, and as more noise in the bush erupts, another large herbivore emerges. But I've heard another one over there, and I can see the bushes just rumbling and moving, so who knows how many more there are. Aren't they pretty? I was able to see 4 elk and 2 moose, but guaranteed there were many more in the area based on the noises I was hearing. On my way back to the campsite, I pass a cow crossing the river, and hidden in the trees nearby, 2 calves hide out. After graduating high school, I toured Europe and met a Canadian East Coaster named Brent who I became friends with. Several years later, and still in contact, we meet where he's working in Lake Louise. Getting together with Brent today was fantastic. He suggested that on my way to Banff, I should take the more scenic route, so I'm going to take his advice and do just that. I noticed a few dozen vehicles parked along the road and needed to catch a glimpse for myself. These guys were all quite comfortable around humans, standing just a few meters away from me. Well, Brent didn't lie, there's a bunch of different elk here. I hop over to Banff where a sign so courteously welcomes my arrival. I just had to respond to its politeness. Thanks. I don't really have anything to do, so I'm just walking around the town and enjoying myself. Taking a bit of time to relax, I guess. It reminds me a bit of Whistler, mountain village. Lots of shops, shopping, touristy, but that's nice. Yum. On my way home, I ascend to the top of Mount Revelstoke for lunch, astonished that a weekend of camping in the Rockies wasn't as distant as it had once seemed. Now knowing how close it truly is, this is a trip I'll be making much more frequently.